Scott Hall was thrown out of the Iron Sheik's, I guess you call it a banquet, so to speak. I don't think it was his birthday. Scott Hall was thrown out of a banquet for the Iron Sheik because a comedian made a joke about Owen Hart and said something like the Iron Sheik's talent was falling faster than Owen Hart at the Kemper Arena. For the you that don't know, the Kemper Arena is the site where Owen Hart tragically fell to his death. I personally don't find death to be amusing unless it's Heath Ledger, just because I hate that prick. No offense, guys. And I really still don't find death to be amusing. I've had plenty of deaths before. That's why, in my life, that's why I'm not one to, like, make fun of death, dude. I've had a lot of it surround my life for a while. I think his comments were a little far, but honestly, it's jokes. And I understand that. Okay, I understand that you use what you use what you're given, and you use everything in your arsenal to be funny, to do whatever. But when you're at a wrestling thing and you're surrounded by people that respected Owen Hart, some people that wrestled with Owen Hart and were greatly affected, you just gotta be careful. And I think the comments went too far. Only because if someone made a joke about my brothers that have died or whatever, I'd snap and kill him. And Scott Hall, though he was inebriated, though he was drunk, the fact of the matter remains that he was still sticking up for his friend. And not only that, but he was doing what he thought was right. He took offense to it and he spoke his mind. I think whether he was completely sober or drunk, he still would have said the same things. He still would have gotten in the guy's face, and it still would have happened like that. The clique was against the Harts, kind of, yes, but it doesn't matter. I mean, you know, it doesn't matter that the clique was against Bret. Even they wouldn't wish death on Bret Hart. Shawn Michaels wouldn't wish death on Bret Hart. Neither would Razor. And obviously, like, the people were agreeing with Scott Hall because they chanted Razor. You know, I mean, it's just, I think it was a little far. I don't think it was meant to be taken far. He wasn't trying to, cause a problem with it, but definitely, I just think it was too far. That's just my opinion, though. So, moving on from that. Actually, I'd like to hear your guys' opinions. So actually, Andy, what do you think about the whole Scott Hall defending Owen Hart, piss-ass drunk?
I just think it's I think it's a very sensitive subject, and I think it was really the wrong crowd to tell that sort of joke. Now, I find that joke in horrible taste, as do most of us here, but I do think some people would probably find that funny. But I think the comedian, whoever told it, should have anticipated the fact that there might have been that was the wrong crowd to tell the joke in.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, I understand. Like, I really do. I think that's right. Sam, what do you think? Do you think it was tasteless? Do you think, I don't know, what do you think about Scott Hall's comments?
I don't really blame Scott Hall at all. I mean, obviously took offense to the joke and, physically went after this guy. I mean, I don't really blame him at all. I mean, I probably do the same thing. Like, it doesn't matter if it was a joke or not. I mean, it doesn't matter if it took offense or not. He shouldn't have said it in any crowd, really. But no, I don't blame Scott Hall one bit at all. I would the exact same thing. So no, I think this comedian definitely made a mistake by saying that, and really shouldn't have said it at all.
All right. Vintage. What do you think about it?
Death is not something you should joke about. I mean, people, have a sense of humor. You could think of something else to joke about other than death, or using death as a punchline, or whatever. I mean, what Scott Hall did, he did the right thing by standing up. I mean, he did the wrong thing by drinking, out of rehab, all that. But, that's Scott Hall being Scott Hall. Not much you can do about that. If he was
All right.
wow, what was that? Anyway, I mean, if a comedian needs to use death as a punchline, I think he's a horrible comedian. Honestly, not that great right there. As far as Andy said with the whole crowd thing, I mean, it is the right crowd to say it in front of. I mean, only wrestling fans will get that, but either way, it's still wrong.
Yeah, I understand it's still wrong. And I agree that if you have to use death, obviously you should come up with a little bit better material. It's just, I don't know. I don't like it, but then again, I'm an Owen Hart fan, so obviously I wouldn't like those comments. But
I mean, it's not like we know Owen Hart. We're just passionate wrestling fans. I mean, of course we're going to take offense to that.
Yeah. Basically, everyone seems offended by it except for Taz. Really. Judge, what's your opinion on it, bud? Judge, man, wake up.
Oh. Hey, guys.
Hey, what's your opinion on this whole Scott Hall thing?
You know what? I can understand why people would get offended by it. From a comedy standpoint, I wasn't offended by it. I thought it was, it's not what you say in comedy. It's, the fact that you're actually saying it. And I think that kind of is what made it funny, is the fact that it wasn't about making fun of Owen Hart. It's the fact that he said something like that in my opinion is kind of funny, I know it's a sensitive subject, and I know it might offend a lot of people, but comedy is comedy. And you know what? I wasn't offended by it. I thought, though, in the context, it was pretty funny. So I understand why Scott Hall would be offended by something like that, but I can also understand why the comedian said it. So I'm kind of in the middle on both sides.
All right. And Kaz is right. Some of the greatest comedians today do use death.
It's a shame.
But I mean, I don't know how to look. You look at it as more than one way. It's like, I mean, I understand that. I don't know. Basically, in my opinion,
I just think that you could use a better example than a man's body falling, how many feet it was, in the middle to the ring, to signify how far a man's career has fallen. But
he could have been.
What else is he going to say? Your career fell faster than Jimmy Snuka. That doesn't work.
Jimmy Snuka off the cage jump. Okay, that was a good moment. I mean, you don't have to.
I don't think it would have worked.
Or what about your career's falling faster than Foley off the cell? You see, that wouldn't work either.
Why?
That one
because I don't think.
You fell quick. Your career's falling faster than the Ultimate Warriors. Your career's falling faster than Hulk Hogan in court. I mean, like, do
okay, that one was kind of funny. I get that Hulk Hogan one was really funny. Yeah. But
it just.
It was a shock value joke. That's basically all it was. Some jokes are funny, some jokes are simply shock value, and that was one of them. It was simply a shock value joke. It was one of those jokes where people go, "Oh, I can't believe he said that." Unfortunately, Scott was drunk and he decided to react upon it. But it's a joke. Said it, you got a little offended by it, and you move on to the next one. It's a roast.